The present day modern man is countering several problems, several issues of his person, profession, in society, and the country, various fields. He requires definitely a great level of social confidence, self confidence in developing. He has to develop a method to encounter all these problems in a very balanced manner with all judicious activities without giving much disturbance to his personal life and his balance of mind, for which the requirement is he has to develop a method of developing self confidence, and his mind must be tamed, because any untamed mind will give you a disaster. So, after entering into disaster management is not good for any individual human being, because his psyche will be much affected. The necessity is to develop self confidence, a method of developing self confidence, and taming the brain, that is, training the mind in a better fashion. The human body can be compared to a temple with God seated within. Hence, all that we do are at His command, and we should undertake to carry out only pious deeds which will please Him. This is one concept which is percolated down to the level over the centuries or over the several years. This, in its appearance, the concept is good. But to shape your destiny without your presence, without your effort, without your practice, without your taking to task in taming your brain and developing a method of self confidence, this cannot be done in a judicious way and in a very harmonious way. So, good to be treated with utmost kindness and treat other people to be with kindness. To be born as a human being, good, it is itself should be considered as a rare privilege. But why you are born? What is the purpose? You have to lead life. To lead the life, what are the essential requirements? In this present burning society, it requires a method of self-confidence, developing self-confidence, and taming your brain. You should not leave the brain as a without taming, just saying that everything is God. Hence, because God has felt like that, it has happened. That golden escape will not work in the present sense. I'm not against that thinking at all, but that sort of philosophy will not make you successful. Worship the God naturally, provide its solace needed for a tormented soul. Obstacles are also bound to crop when a person is desirous of approaching God or even leading the life. Normally, to lead the life normally, it requires a robust work. Mere belief in divine service cannot be carried out. Mere your belief in a particular God or a particular Shakti cannot take you to a long. It is required as a tool, as an accessory for your brain. Important injunction that we should never be violated is to avoid wastage of your energy. You concentrate your energy on positive fields, then only your work will become harmonious and can give you a good methodology, a good process, a good thinking method to develop your self into the method of developing confidence. The sharp tip of the needle and wash it in the cup, but there was no need for it, but was extremely careful and did her job with fervor. It does not mean because just you have done a thing with all fervor, it doesn't require any scientific practice of washing the needle. Not only your fervor and commitment in your job, but also that scientific approach, that skilled approach, even in cleaning the needle, that is required. Then we can understand how develop self-confidence. Lessons have to learn not to waste time, which is precious. The command relates suspending or spending money in whatever way you like with the thinking that everything is all wish of the ulterior authority or ultimate super authority that will not work out in your life. Never show a person throw it away to misuse, not just because he has plenty to spare. Desires should be curbed and anger carefully controlled. This is a very essential lesson for any human being to have a harmonious life in the present day society. How then taming the mind? The mind of a man can be compared to an invincible enemy grown extremely powerful because of his own negligence. It is a field that yields a bumper harvest of the ills of the transmigratory life. Having to become turbulent because of man's indifference, the mind cannot be controlled and it will lead to him to ruin or cause irreparable damages. Emphasis is laid, shall be laid on curbing the vagaries of the mind because it generates desires, infatuation, and result in sufferings. I repeat, it generates desires, infatuation, and sufferings. Without a desire, you cannot lead life. Unless you have a burning desire, you will not achieve anything. To upgrade yourself, to lead a good life, to give a good life to your family members, you should have a desire. But the desire should be tamed, it should be properly analyzed depending on your requirement, your capability, and the capacity of your doors. Not just mere opening the doors as you like. First of all, analyze the capacity of your doors and then open the doors of making money and other things. In this process, the mind, when attached to the sense objects, causing misery, and when it is kept pure, liberation could be achieved. From which liberation? What sort of liberation? Not renouncing the world, not renouncing the life, not renouncing the society, but liberation from uncontrolled behavior of the mind. I am repeating this word, but liberation from the uncontrolled mind of the, and it's a salient feature of fluctuations, then only that will possible. Ready for a blunt, at times rob faculties, rob your inner faculty, develop your faculty to create your brain in such a fashion which will be harmonious and giving you harmonious desires and judicious desires. That is where the real taming of mind enters. One of the best examples how the mind works is that of a humble worker who has put in a number of years of service in a big company. One day he conceals a manufactured product and his act escapes the attention. But it cannot be a general principle. He cannot hide it. A day will come that mind, he was succumbed to that mind, the desire of the mind. But definitely it will become a hurdle and it will become a problem to his life itself. Hence the mind, when allowed to go astray because of a man's indifference or negligence or connivance, turns insolent, refusing to obey when a crucial situation arises. This is only the way to subdue the arrogance is to use the arrow of services to a principle of life, to a philosophy of life, to an objective of life. That is only the best solution. See, the belief in supernatural power alone is unaffected by the concept of time, dimension, and space, whereas the ordinary human being undergoes changes and even the world goes through alterations, like the body which is subject to decay. The universe undergoes various processes of change, and thus both can be stated to be impermanent and ultimate. But whether it is impermanent or permanent, you have to live till you are there in the society. So you have to essentially carve out a philosophy, carve out a method of developing your own self confidence and carving a different philosophy and a tool to tame your brain, which has to be subservient to you, not you becoming to the vagaries of the mind. That will help you to live in this society. That can be stated to be the ultimate truth is called by the sages that whether it is divine majesty or your mind or your method of self confidence, whatever it may be, you cannot leave everything astray with a belief or with a faith that everything is done by supernatural power. Your role, your effort, your methodology, your proper belief, your judicious approach towards life, your harmonious approach to your mind, and the level of control you exercise on your mind and the method of developing self confidence can give you an opportunity to lead life in a harmonious way. Thank you very much.